The remains of American-born singer and dancer Josephine Baker will be reinterred at the Pantheon monument in Paris, making the entertainer the first black woman to receive the country's highest honor. French President Emmanuel Macron is organizing a ceremony on November 30 at the Paris Monument, which houses the remains of scientist Marie Curie, philosopher Voltaire, writer Victor Hugo and other French luminaries. Baker was buried in Monaco following her death in 1975, dressed in a French military uniform with the medals she received for her role as part of the French resistance during the Second World War. She will be the fifth woman to be honored with a Pantheon burial, and the first artist. The monument also holds the remains of 72 men. Holocaust survivor Simone Veil, one of France's most revered politicians, was the last woman buried at the Pantheon in 2018, joining Nobel Prize-winning chemist Marie Curie and two female resistance fighters, Germaine Tillion and Genevieve de Gaulle-Anthonioz. Josephine Baker lived a truly incredible life. Born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1906, she first gained fame in the late 1920s and early 1930s, especially in France where she moved in 1925 as she sought to flee racism and segregation in the U.S. Baker quickly became famous for her dance routines and wowed audiences at the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées and later at the Folies Bergère in Paris, becoming one of the most recognizable cabaret performers of her generation. She was also the first black woman to star in a major motion picture, the 1927 silent film Siren of the Tropics. Baker later became a French citizen after her marriage to industrialist Jean Lion in 1937, and joined the French resistance during the Second World War. Baker operated for the resistance for years, collecting information from German officials she met at parties and carrying important messages hidden in her underwear to England and other countries. She also carried sheet music on which resistance leaders wrote messages in invisible ink, but was able to transport the music unhindered thanks to her star status and global fan base. After the war she received a host of honors for her service to Allied forces, including the prestigious Croix de Guerre and Rosette de la Resistance, before Charles de Gaulle made her a Chevalier of the Légion d'honneur, one of the highest French orders of merit. Throughout the 50s, Baker returned to the U.S. to perform, but insisted on performing to mixed crowds and on many occasions refused to go on stage at venues where audiences were segregated. A prominent civil rights activist, she also gave a number of talks at U.S. colleges, particularly in the South, speaking out against racism and promoting equal rights, and famously announced she was unafraid of the Ku Klux Klan, from whom she reportedly received death threats. Perhaps her most notable moment as a civil rights activist came in 1963 in the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where she was the only woman officially invited to deliver a speech alongside the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who made his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Baker adopted 12 children, 10 sons and 2 daughters, which she referred to as her. She began adopting children, forming a family she often referred to as the Rainbow Tribe. Though she herself never raised a child of her own, she gave birth once in 1941. Stillborn, Baker wanted to prove that children of different ethnicities and religions could still be brothers, and raised kids from Morocco, Korea, Japan, Colombia, Finland, Algeria, Ivory Coast, and Venezuela. Baker converted to Catholicism in 1968 and continued to perform, albeit much less frequently. She developed friendships with many prominent figures including Prince Rainier of Monaco and Grace Kelly, who housed Baker at an apartment in Roquebrune near Monaco where she spent much of her final years. She died, aged 68, on April 12, 1975 after suffering a cerebral hemorrhage, and received a full Catholic funeral before being interred at Monaco's Cimetière de Monaco. She left behind an incredible legacy and received a host of honors and awards commemorating her life. She has several public monuments, landmarks and buildings named after her in both France and the US, and she was inducted into the Hall of Famous Missourians and the Legacy Walk in Chicago.